What's up, U.S. history students? A real quick video here to end out of the assassination section. We've looked at JFK in 1963, Malcolm X in 1965, and then MLK in 1968, April of 1968. Hopefully you got a chance to watch those and look at some of those links that I put in the description. Because if you watch the links from the Martin Luther King Jr. one, you get a good sense of maybe the person and man that Bobby Kennedy was from a short little 5 to 6 minute clip that I had in there of a speech he gave in Indianapolis. But again, he's been around. He was the attorney general under JFK's administration. He helps during the Cuban Missile Crisis and a big role in kind of getting the country through that without diving into World War III and nuclear holocaust with the Russians. And so he's running for president to get the Democratic nominee, right, or nomination, to be the Democrat to run in the 1968 presidential election. He is in California campaigning, and he gives a quick speech, and he walks off the stage, and he's going through a hotel kitchen, actually, is where they're at, a hotel, and he's walking through a hotel kitchen when an individual named Sirhan pulls out a gun and assassinates Bobby Kennedy. And there's not footage or anything like there was with the JFK assassination, thanks to the Zapruder film that I linked in that discussion. But JFK and now Bobby Kennedy, right, have been assassinated in the same decade. And so the 1968 Bobby Kennedy, or Robert, sometimes you see RFK assassination, bring the decade to a close on a real sour, negative note, right? We've had all this controversy with the Cold War and Vietnam and Cuban Missile Crisis, civil rights movement, ending segregation, and now we've had these four great leaders during all this also assassinated. And so it kind of puts a real, obviously, damper as we go into the 1968 election and into even the escalation of the Vietnam War, right, as we're doing this in 1968. And so I'll link one other little 2 or 3 minute video that kind of walks through the end of Robert Kennedy's speech, and then as he walks through that hotel kitchen. But the 60s end, right, very tumultuous decade. Part of the reason the counterculture and hippie movement shows up when it does is because of all this kind of craziness that makes things feel like they're out of control. Stay tuned next time. Next week, last week of school, a little different than normal, obviously. I'll have another screencastify with your final assignment that I'll give you then. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.